Welcome to the Ex Terra Podcast. The Ex Terra mission is to explore and discuss the business of space and its effect on the national and global economy, as well as life on Earth. How does what happens in space affect your life every day? That's what we're exploring on the Ex Terra website, as well as on this podcast. My guest is Dr. Kayyali Mohamed, founder and CEO of KSF Space. The KSF Space Foundation is a nonprofit organization registered in Delaware. And Dr. Mohamed, thanks for joining me.
Thanks for having me, Tom.
Let's start out with some of the basics. Tell me, what is KSF Space and what does it do?
KSF Space is actually a nonprofit organization. It was founded in 2016. We have the basic mission is actually to encourage universities and institutions worldwide, especially in developing countries, to develop a space mission for research and academic. So that was the main purpose why we have created the Space Foundation.
Tell me a little bit about your background.
Well, I have I'm a telecommunication computer engineering, and I've studied as well medical engineering. I have a PhD in medical engineering. Then I went to University of California, Santa Barbara. I was a researcher visitor at UCSB. And then I had to move to management. I had like different courses and diplomas from Harvard Business School in terms of innovation management. So I have like two main disciplines in my life: engineering and business management.
So what then brought you to getting into the space business? And then tell us how unique a nonprofit is in the space sector.
Because we are nonprofit, so we really don't care about the commercial part in our life. We care about science. So science is the most objective in our vision. So we believe that, especially in developing countries, they're facing a lot of problems with fundraising and for research and development projects. So it comes in our mind, myself and the co-founders, that we need to bring something like an innovation, something really unique to R&D. So we have been thinking about why we should, build something to the nation to develop an R&D project for space with affordable pricing, comparing with other commercial sectors. So 2016, we created the Space Foundation. And because we believe in the space, that is this future industry. And in terms of telecommunication, Earth observation, most of the application that will be relying on the space technology in the future on satellites. So that's why we moved to this kind of discipline and provide something unique to the nation.
Who are you working with right now?
What do you mean by who we're working with?
Well, and what kind of projects do you have going? And I know we're going to get into that in a little bit greater detail a little bit later on in the program, but just kind of give us that 30,000-foot view of the kinds of things you're working on.
Okay, basically we develop a project with the university. We help university how to construct and build their own small satellites, what we call the Cubesats or nano satellites. And we have a different approaches over here. We have the education outreach program, and we have the manufacturing, and we have the launching systems. And in terms of education outreach program, we have founded something called the Nano Satellite Engineering Professional Certification. It's the world first Nano Satellite Engineering Professional Certification in the small satellite industry. So we develop this kind of theoretical course and to make sure that the students will be able to build their own satellite, and they have a very good background in engineering side, So, and then we move to the manufacturing. We provide the students in university with our Cubesat kits, which is one of the cheapest in the world and most affordable as well. And we help those students to construct and build it. And then we move to the launching services. So we have two options here. Either you go for suborbital rockets through our project Jupiter, or either you go for orbital launch with other partners like SpaceX and so on.
Who else is on your team?
We have so many people on board with us. More than 200 engineers. They came from aerospace background, actually. But basically, we have five the board members who are taking decisions with us, and the rest they are volunteering members who are just involved in different categories of projects. We have people in education sectors, small satellite education sector. We have another people who are involved in, let's say, the hardware, building the small satellite, building the electronics, the components, designing the boards, PCB boards of our own satellites. And we have other people who are in charge with the rocket designing with the Kansas University. Yeah.
How do people find out about you? You say you have a team of over 200 folks that you're working with. Did you go out and actively recruit them? Did they find you? And how did they get involved?
Because we are nonprofit, so we usually don't have like a budget for recruiting, but we welcome volunteering. So once we have a project, we're trying to motivate, let's say, paying the engineers who are involved with us in the project. And of course, we have to pay them like symbolic fees comparing with other commercial. But first of all, we're trying to select who will be joining us, because we believe that people who love to give and give more in terms of R&D, they are capable to go with you with a small fee.
Now, you say you work with clients on satellites, so go a little bit more in depth, if you would, about the KSF Cubesat Nano satellite model. How does all that go together?
Okay, so in a small satellite industry, we have so many companies. Most of them they are commercial company, and right. they most of them they care about profitable business. So they just want to gain money from either from university or direct from clients or whatever. So we have designed our own CubeSat to match technical requirements for any standard CubeSats in the market, with the minimum charge that cover only the cost of fabricating our satellites. So maybe this is the only difference. So our satellite is 100% in-house built and 100% in-house design. And we have a beautiful kit, it comes with all the boards and all the education outreach. And of course, we give like training courses, and we help them, the students, to construct these kind of satellite in a matter of just a couple of months with coding, developing, programming, everything. So maybe this is the only difference between us and other commercial companies. Yes.
Do those institutions come to you with a specific mission in mind, and then can you help them develop the software and the other ancillary hardware that will help them accomplish that mission?
Let me say, not exactly. Most of the clients, or let's say universities or institutions who contacted us, they just need help in developing their mission, defining their mission. So what would be the mission about? So we usually propose a mission that is oriented with climate change, because we believe climate change is one of the most important issue is facing the whole nation in the future. You see what I mean? So climate change is something really critical. So we're trying to develop a mission for the universities in orientation with the climate change. So with the satellites, we have different sensors, different measurements that can determine the climate change either in orbit or suborbit.
And what kinds of sensors, what kinds of things are you measuring as far as when you talk about climate change? Are you looking at the amount of CO2 in the atmosphere? Are you looking at what kinds of things do you look for?
Yes. We've been developing two missions for climate change, basically for CO2, methane, radioactivities. We did also one for ozone detection level.
Mm-hmm.
That was from Mexico. So these kind of experimentations is really attracting more clients, more people from universities to work on. It's something really beautiful.
I'm talking with Dr. Kayyali Mohamed, founder and CEO of KSF Space. Take a moment right now to click on subscribe to be sure you don't miss any of our podcasts, or if you're watching on YouTube, any of the videos from Ex Terra, the Journal of Space Commerce. Dr. Mohamed, you also offer an astronaut certification program. Now, what does that entail?
This is actually, we're still developing this kind of initiative with the NASA. NASA, they have like a space center that they provide sort of training. So we're trying to develop this kind of program with the NASA in collaboration with ESA, with European Space Agency. So basically the program will be divided in two sectors. Part of the training will be held at the European Space Agency lab, and the second one will be held in the NASA Space Center, most probably Kennedy Space Center, because they already have the facilities to train. So it will be something like a rapid training for preparation to become an astronaut. It's not really a concrete training. It's a preparation to become an astronaut. So it's like giving you an idea how would the training will look like as a complex and comprehensive training in the future. So it's like 2 weeks up to 3 weeks training program. Of course, it's affordable to anyone in terms of financial, and it should be between the European Space Agency facilities and the NASA Kennedy Space Center facility.
So it's sort of like Astronaut 101, if you want to put that in those academic terms.
Yeah.
Talk to us a little bit about the Jupiter rocket project.
Jupiter rocket project. It's a suborbital rocket. It's a 2 stages rocket that we have. We have like a partnership with Kansas University. So there is like an aerospace department, let's say aerospace school. And the school, we sign a contract, so we will do the design together, and it's just a matter of facilities. So they have a very good facilities. They have labs. They have workshops. This is if we own such facilities, that will cost like $1 million. So we took the chance, and we say, hey guys, we would like to develop our own rocket with your facility. And we invite people from your team, students, master, undergraduate, or postgraduate, to work on that project. Lead it with a professor at the Kansas University Aerospace Department. So the idea looks perfect because at the end of the day, we are not a commercial company. We are an NGO, and we would like to provide a cheap suborbital flight for hardware testing, CubeSat testing, nanosatellite testing for anyone. And the challenge was how we will do this, because everyone is outside the team. So we decided to that we, as a KSF Space Foundation, will be managing the project in terms of project management. And the Kansas University team, they will be managing all the technical matters. So right now we're developing the rocket, and it should be ready by August. So we have a test flight in August, and September we will have the first commercial flight.
Where will those launch from?
Utah.
Okay. It sounds like what you're doing in that kind of a project is you're working with kind of budding aerospace engineers to make sure they have some real life experience in how to build a rocket, giving them an opportunity then to go out into the commercial world and say, okay, I already know the basics of building a rocket. Is that kind of the thought process?
Yes. Yes.
But you also have your sights set a little bit further out with the Lunar Fox mission. What's that about?
Yeah, it's another exciting project. We are working with Maston Aerospace. So, Maston Aerospace is like a private held company by NASA. So we have in 2024, mid 2024, May, they will be sending a a vehicle to Moon, and we will have like a slot, a very small slot. And so in this slot, we will be developing a rover. The rover, we call it, the mission, we call it a Lunar Fox. So the rover will be, it's like robots that will be managing all the, I don't know how to say, let's say mining, testing, mining, experiment. We have different sensors. So he'll do like sort of a small excavation on the moon of the surface. And he'll do sort of like onboard testing, analytics, and sending all this information back to the vehicle. And the vehicle will be sending this to the ground station. So this is like a very competitive project. And we're trying to gather more universities to participate in the Lunar Fox mission.
This sounds like, again, much like with the Jupiter rocket project, it's a way for to tie the academics and the real world experience together on a lunar mission. Is that kind of the basic goal that you have with Lunar Fox?
No, Lunar Fox has nothing to do with the Jupiter. Jupiter is a completely different project. It's only building a suborbital rocket to be used to carry 3 CubeSats payloads for testing. Any university, they can send their CubeSats for testing. But the Lunar Fox is a separate project managed completely by NASA and Maston Aerospace. So we will have another universities who will be joining us to develop this kind of rover or robot. And we will put the robot in the space vehicle, lunar space vehicle of NASA. Yeah.
And finally, let's talk about your ability to perform some near space missions. What do you have going on in low to medium Earth orbit?
Jupiter.
Okay.
I'm trying because we have a very concrete, we have an exciting education program there. It's a nanocell engineering profession. We have more than 1,700 candidates who pass the exam. So this is something really exciting for us. And it's a concrete project. It's running by its own. We are happy. The CubeSat kits, it's beautiful. We're trying just to build an advanced model in just a matter of time. The Jupiter one is my focus because I believe there is a still problem with so many people who are owning CubeSats and they have a problem launching them. So I'm planning to build Jupiter 2. So once we have Jupiter 1, it will be a reusable rocket. We will have like a 4 flights annual. So once we have a success mission, we will be able to fundraise and build the Jupiter 2, which is going to be perhaps an orbital rocket.
You mentioned fundraising, and I've worked in the nonprofit sector myself, and I know that every nonprofit thrives on fundraising. How can people get involved with your foundation and support what it is that you're trying to do?
Look at ourselves, what we're doing. We have started the Space Foundation from $0, Tom. And I put money from my personal pocket and so on, the co-founders. So we built the entire Space Foundation just from $0, and we have built competitive projects. We have a professional certification. We have competitive CubeSat kits. It's really competing other commercials companies over there. So why don't we get a fundraising? We're doing a tremendous job, So we're doing a really exciting job. So how come, there's no company, no one interested to donate and do some fundraising for us?
Well, hopefully, you might get some interest out of doing this with us. I hope that's the case, because it sounds like it's a worthy goal to be able to work on these educational projects. The next generation of space engineers is going to need to be able to do a lot of things, and so I wish you all the best of luck with that. Finally, just kind of one thing more, because we asked this of all of our guests. If you would just kind of look into your crystal ball a little bit, the next 10 to 15 years or so, looking at space commerce, and tell us kind of what you see on the horizon.
Yeah, I can see many things in there. Look at this. I'm expecting that we will have like 25% of the global space economy will be relying on consumer TV and consumer radio, broadband broadcasting. And the next would be like, I don't know, maybe 30% will be for Earth observation and mobile satellite services. So we have a promising industry over here in terms of satellite launching, satellite manufacturing, ground equipment, fixed satellite services, and etc. So it's a promising industry, and it's the chance right now for anyone who would like to do something in space. It's the right time, the right moment to have a fingerprint in the space industry. I mean, in the future, 10, 15 years from now, we will have so many competitors. You're not going to build your own name. You know, IBM and Microsoft, they already built their name 30 years ago.
Sure.
Yeah.
So if folks wanted to get in touch with you and perhaps talk to you about helping you out with some funding, how would they do that?
It's so easy. So they can just reach out to our website, and we will be happy to manage like a call or a visit, and then we can hook them with our financial advisor. Yeah.
All right, and we'll make sure that link appears with the podcast here on Ex Terra. So that's all the time that we have, Dr. Mohamed. I really appreciate you taking some time to talk with me today, and I wish you the best of luck. And hopefully, we'll learn more about the Jupiter project in a future podcast.
Yes, of course. Thanks for having me, Tom.
Dr. Kayyali Mohamed is founder and CEO of KSF Space. And that is going to do it for this edition of the Ex Terra Podcast. You can subscribe to the audio version of the podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and many other popular podcasting platforms. Be sure to click on subscribe so you don't miss an episode of the podcast or any of our other videos. You can also get daily space commerce news at xterrajsc.com. And one thing more, be sure to connect with us on LinkedIn and follow us on Twitter at xterrajsc. Until next time, I'm Tom Patton. Thanks for joining us.